Thanks very much, Enrique. For me, it's an honor to receive the Goulart Award. And I would like to pay a tribute to Professor Michel Goulart, talking to you today about one of the lines that we are carrying out, which is designing mono and multifunctional catalysts and processes. As many of you want also to do, we want to design the catalyst with well-defined, single, isolated sites, or when we want to carry out several steps in a cascade-type reaction, we may want to go and to design the catalyst with more than one site. If we look for the prototype of what will be a well-defined active site, we can go into the organometallics. In the organometallics, we have a central atom with organic ligands that define very well what is the active site. So we know the structure, and we know also the electronic properties, so we can start to rationalize about the mechanism. So it's not surprising that if we try to make solid catalysts with well-defined sites, one possibility is to take those organometallic catalysts and then to support on a carrier. That has been done normally by attaching the organometallic on a carrier of high surface area, and most of the time with silanol groups. And then what is generally observed is that the activity comes down and selectivity comes down. And then one has to start to fight hard to bring up again conversion and selectivity by passivating the surface of the solid carrier. But we can work in another way. If we know materials and we know how to modify them and how to design them, we can now design also the best solid for that type of organometallic catalyst. Because now the catalyst will be not just each one separated, but the two of them together. So that will be the first part of my talk. In the second part of my talk, I will go also to generate single, well-defined isolated sites. And another way we can do that is by going into crystalline structures, in this case with well-defined pores, in where we will locate now the Bronsted acid sites, the protons, or the metals. We'll not be able there to get the same tuning that we have with the ligands, but we'll have other properties. We'll be able to control adsorption of reactants and products by changing the polarity of the surface. We'll be able also to control the shape selectivity that Jeff was telling us yesterday. That will be the second part of the talk. And in the third part, I will go to nanoparticles. Nanoparticles, we can also have different types of sites, and the type of site that we'll have will depend on the structure, will depend on the size and on the shape. We'll not have the particles isolated, we'll deposit them on a carrier, and again now we can play with the carrier. We can play with the carrier in different ways. One will be to control the shape and the size of the crystallites. But we'll be able also to control the electronic properties of the very small crystallites through the support by electron transferring between the support and the metal, or vice versa. But we can go one step further and to design also active sites on the support, and in this way to carry on cascade-type reactions. That will be the third part. You see, when we start to do, I will tell you the work we did in the last 6 years in this line. When we started to do the anchoring of some transition metal complexes of vanadium saline here, we could get reasonable enantioselectivities. But the enantioselectivity of the homogeneous was 90, as you can see there, while the enantioselectivity, when you support it, right away comes down. That is just a pure silica. So then you have to start either to passivate the surface or to increase the size of the chain in order to make that active site like it would be free into the solution. And then you recover almost the enantioselectivity. We didn't win too much except the fact that we can recycle the catalyst. But we would like to do better. Already in 1991, I was concerned about this, and I tried to make supports and to prepare those catalysts in such a way that I could improve what the homogeneous catalyst was giving. And look what I did in that time. We tried to destroy some of the sodalite units in the Y zeolite to generate super micropores there. When you have those super micropores, now you can introduce your complex and graft it there, rhodium, we did also nickel. And that was a good catalyst already as an homogeneous catalyst to carry on the non-selective hydrogenations, in this case of the acyl dihydrophenylalanine. Okay, but the idea was, if I introduce that there, first, by changing the electronic properties of the zeolite, I'm going to change the absorption properties, and therefore the concentration of reactants, and consequently, probably the rate of the reaction. Furthermore, if that becomes attached now to the zeolite, the zeolite will become like a bulky ligand for that transition metal complex. And that, in principle, could be positive for enantioselectivity.